If you can genuinely help people and you're trying to build a lifestyle business, something can do like $20,000 to $100,000 a month. I have spent the last 5 years of my life figuring out how to do that, and I've built that kind of business on Skool. I won the very first unofficial Skool Games. I then won 2 more times. I know the platform like the back of my hand. I have helped over 100 of my clients hit 10K months. I've helped 25 clients hit 50K months. And I've helped people like Sherry Salata hit 100K month, Kelly Brogan, Mark Groves, Aaron Apke, all have 6-figure months. But before all of that, I was a certified financial planner for 12 years. I sold more than $25 million in products and services. And before that, the only reason I got into finance in the first place was because I went $500,000 in debt at the age of 21. And I was in the bank so much trying to not go bankrupt that they gave me a job selling insurance. And so in this video, I want to break down 6 very distinct seasons of my career and the mistakes that I made and the lessons that I learned. And so if you are a service provider, an online coach, consultant, practitioner who can really transform lives, but are maybe feeling overwhelmed, unclear about your offer, or you just need more leads, this is going to be for you. So the first season of my career is what I would call the mess. That eventually became my message, but it wasn't clear that that's how it was going to go initially when I was in it. When I was 20, I had this great idea. I was going to be a land developer because I watched some TV show on like Home and Garden TV. And I was like, oh, that's a good way to make money. But I had no experience. I had no connections, no network, no idea what I was doing. And this was in 2007. I walked into a bank. They gave me a $500,000 line of credit. I proceeded to go to the city, get some architect drawings. I did make a deal with 4 properties. 2008 hit, and I was left holding a $500,000 line of credit. I was making $8 an hour as a server at the Keg and Earl's, and I was screwed. Like, legitimately, how am I going to pay for this? How am I ever going to get out? I was pretty stuck. So I was in the bank pretty much every day or every other day, just be like, what do I do? How do I get out of this? And I was in there so much that they asked me, like, have you ever considered, selling insurance? And so they gave me a job. And that started a 12-year career in finance where I learned all about money. I became a certified financial planner. I built teams. I've trained over 100 people. And in that season, that was like the hardest season for sure. But there's a couple lessons in here. And the biggest one is that, I made a whole career out of the biggest mess of my life, a mess that cost me for, 20 years, really. Like the impact of that early decision still has an impact on me today. In the sense that had I not made it, I could have been quite a bit further ahead. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. And this is where the lesson is worth, millions of dollars. Because my sister asked me a few years ago, she's like, if you could go back and do it differently, would you? And I said, if that was the only way in which I could have learned the skills that I have, the perspective on life that I have, the character that I built, and the faith that I have, then no, I would do that again. And it was hard. But in that, the mess gets to become the message, because in the mess is where you develop the skills, the beliefs, the character traits, and the faith to actually build what it is you want. So that was a long, hard season. It was about 12 years. It was from 21 till 33. I had learned the financial system. I had sold $25 million in products and services. I had trained more than 100 other advisors. And at 33, I would call this second season of my career the giant Cajones season. And this season was about growing a pair big enough for me to leave what the career that I had for something that felt more aligned and trusting my intuition at the most inopportune time. So my wife and I, we weren't married yet, but we were engaged and we were also pregnant. And so we were expecting our first daughter. And I kind of had this thought, like, if I don't jump now, if I don't start the thing that I want to start, which is independent of a financial institution that mostly just keeps people broke and stuck, and I won't get into it in this video, but if you really look at it, it's like the system is not set up to help you thrive financially. Between taxes, fees, inflation, again, I won't go into it, but entrepreneurship is a path out. And if you understand the rules, then you learn how to play a bit of a different game. But if I didn't make this move at this particular time with a baby on the way, I felt like I might get stuck. I might not ever be able to make the move. And so 3 months pregnant, I left. I hung up my certified financial planning designation. I had to resign. And I started an online money coaching business. I actually called it, did financial therapy. And it was helping people with the internal work as well as the practical financial planning. And there are 3 things that helped me in this time to grow a pair. And so the season before is really where it got developed. I mean, I worked with Bob Proctor for 3 years. I went to an event called Awesomeness Fest put on by Mind Valley, which changed my community and my network. So everybody around me was like a big upgrade in terms of friends and community and network. And what I learned in that process previously that set me up to make the leap was a large degree of self-trust and self-leadership. I had learned that I could trust myself to do the hard things. I had learned that I could figure it out. And even though, because I had a huge problem before and I figured it out. And so this was I'd already flexed that muscle. And the third thing that I developed in that process previously that set me up to make this leap was faith. I developed a faith in the unseen. I developed a faith in something bigger than me, which always makes me cry if I get present to it, because it's it's always there and it's always for me. It's always supporting me. And so I did. And so I left my career, I left my designation, and I started an online money coach. And that was season 2, the season of the giant Cajones. So shortly after jumping into the world of online marketing and online business, I quickly entered into stage 3 of my career, which I could only describe as absolute overwhelm, confusion, and fear, but mostly just overwhelmed and confused. And this is about a year later, and I had tried all the things and I was learning from all the different gurus. I had bought courses, I bought programs. And because I felt so ignorant about how to build an online business, I was just learning anything and everything I could. And pretty soon I realized there's so much conflicting information. This guy says, do it that way. This girl says, do it that way. And it's all marketing. And so I was just absolutely confused and was really struggling to get results. And then I purchased Sam Ovens' program, who is the founder of Skool, and which I am super grateful for, which I'm going to share a very big reason that I'm grateful for Sam and for Skool. That's very relevant right now in season 6, the season that I'm in right now. But I'll get to that in a second. In season 3, Sam Ovens, I bought his program. It was Accelerator. And he had a lot of a mindset module in that program, and it was so good. At the time, I was a vegetarian, and in that course, he challenged us to consider that a lot of the ways that we are thinking is trapped inside of a binary, and in which case we weren't actually free thinkers because we were trapped by our biases and our preferences. And so, for example, he challenged me, in that course, it's what's something that you absolutely believe? And so at the time I was a vegetarian, and the exercise was to do exactly the opposite of what you like or your preferences are or what you believe, just to experience what the other side is. So I went to the keg and I had a giant steak, and it was delicious. And I had been a vegetarian for 3 years, and I have never been a vegetarian since. And so that was one part of the mindset training was like super valuable. But then the second part of his mindset training was even more valuable. And it was simply this idea about following one source. I remember in the training, I'm watching it, trying to figure out this online business thing. And I was in the living room. My wife was in the kitchen. And I remember him saying, do not follow anybody else while you're in my program. And I thought, well, that's kind of like a bold statement, but okay, tell me more. And it was like the rule of one source. And it made so much sense for why I was feeling overwhelmed and confused. And the analogy was, if you have one puzzle and you dump out all of the pieces for one puzzle, you can figure it out. But if you take 5 puzzle pieces, 5 different puzzles, and you dump all of those puzzles into the same bundle, good luck figuring that out. I was like, right. So the second mindset lesson from him was really just choosing one source. And this is really about finding your mentors and just finding the people who are further ahead of you in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, and choose them and work with them and choose to learn everything you can from that one source before adding another source in. Because otherwise you just create confusion, you end up with conflicting information, and you don't actually get to fully squeeze what you can from that one mentor or that one source. And so that was really the biggest lesson, because from there and making that decision to just focus, I got absolute clarity. And as a result of that, I made my first high ticket online sale. And that was huge. And shortly after that, I entered the next season. And so the next season I would call 6-figure secrets and scaling mistakes. And so season 4 was really a grind. And I was on Facebook, and I had made my first few sales, and I had found a little, system that worked. But mostly, what was the system? It was adding to my followers or my friends. I would talk to people, I would book calls, and I would offer to help one-on-one. And that worked. And I would raise my prices, and that was it. That's all I did. Is I had a simple lead flow. I talked to people, I booked calls, I made offers, and it was a hustle and it was a grind. And I think the first lesson about like 6-figure secrets is that I totally underestimated like what it took to build a business, an online business. I had the illusion in my head that because it was like painted like a laptop lifestyle where I could just, be on a beach at my laptop and make money, that it was somehow not hard work. But it was. In fact, it was like some of the most difficult work, because you have to get over yourself, and you have to do the things that you maybe don't want to do, like go talk to people. And so really, like, that's the secret of going to 6 figures that I have found, is like, you have a good offer that can actually help people. You figure out how to get people to come into your world every day. I did it organically, and in the beginning, and then you actually just talk to people every day. Like if you make the habit of saying hi to 10 people every single day, there's no way that you won't book calls, and if you do enough calls, there's no way that you won't make money. And so that was the season of 6-figure success. But then I made some serious scaling mistakes. And some of them included just like getting way ahead of myself. So once I had like a little bit of momentum, I was like, I should do a group program. And a result of doing the group program way before I was ready, I didn't have the right assets in place. I didn't realize that doing a group program was a new skill set. Like working one-to-one is very different than working in a group. I didn't have that skill set. I didn't have the assets. And as a result, I made, doing a launch, I think it was $86,000 in 30 days, but I then later had to refund 30,000 of those dollars to unhappy customers and clients. And I did, but that sucked. And that was a big scaling mistake. Like, I could have just raised my prices first, or there's other things that I could have done before shifting to that model. Don't get me wrong, that model is great so long as it's the right time. And so one big lesson was build down and then scale up. So you start with the most expensive, most premium offer that you can offer. And in working with those clients, you build assets that allow you to do a group program, that allow you to sell courses. And so that was a big lesson that I learned there in that season. And then a mistake, what happened shortly after that was my Facebook profile actually got banned. You know how Facebook is. They don't really tell you why. I violated a community standard, but my personal profile was cooked. I didn't know if I would get it back, and I had to pivot real hard and fast because that was my whole business model. So my whole thing was all of a sudden jeopardized. And what I did was I went over to Instagram, where I had no following, and I ran ads because I needed leads today. And so the seemingly negative thing that happened ended up being awesome, because what happened was I found out how to do ads, and I also found this little platform called Skool. And that then takes us to the next season of my career, which I'll call the Skool season. And that season, I'm super grateful for. And I'll tell you why. And there's a few reasons why, but one of the biggest ones I'm very present to today. Because when my Facebook account got banned, I got really present to the fact that, wow, I'm super vulnerable. My business is vulnerable. I'm one, keystroke away from losing my entire lead flow, jeopardizing my entire business. And so when I came onto the Skool platform, I didn't have any leads. I had to scramble, and I just really felt quite vulnerable. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that again. And today I have almost 12,000 people in my free community. I have another 200 people in higher ticket programs and other communities. And I have an email list with 20,000 people on it. And I have relationships and partners and friends, all from being inside of the Skool network and community. And about 2 weeks ago, my Instagram account got deleted, just like my Facebook account did 5 years ago, except now it's almost like that should be devastating. I had 25,000 followers on Instagram. It was a primary lead source, like where most of my leads came from, I would say. It did totally impact my ad account, my pixel. There's lots of negative things that happen as a result of losing my Instagram account. I also can't get it back. I also can't create a new profile. And if you're wondering, like, "Whoa, Dan, what'd you do?" I have no idea. Same thing. Maybe I did something, but I don't know what it is. And they don't tell me. I violated a community standard again. It also happened on the heels of my first viral reel. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's also why I'm creating more YouTube content like this. If you like this, by the way, like, subscribe. Is that how you do it over here? I'm not sure. I'm new on the YouTubes. But my point is, I'm really grateful that 4 years ago, I decided to build on a platform that would not do that. And so when I lost my account on Instagram, a little bit unfazed. It's okay. It's fine. My business I will find a new traffic source, and it's okay. And that's a cool place to be. That's a level of freedom that maybe doesn't get talked about. Sometimes you think, just money or financial reserves or, earning an X amount per month gives you financial freedom, but actually it's like relationships and equity and assets that you create. There's other pieces of that puzzle. And so in this season of Skool, some of the highlights of this season was I won the very first Skool Games. Before Hormozi was here, before Skool Games was a thing, there was an unofficial Skool Games, and I won. First prize. I have a lifetime free community. As a result of that, I also won a new computer and some other cool stuff. Then they had the first official Skool Games with Hormozi, and I placed 9th inside of that Skool Games. And then I played in the Royal Rumble, and I placed 10th in those Skool Games. And that was across all of the Skool communities on the platform. And we built our business up to $100,000 a month. We were, last year we did just under $1 million, and it was awesome. And it was great success. And I learned in that process, like something that Skool does really well that I had somehow missed, is how simple they make everything. The user experience on Skool is simple. And I had somehow made my business super complex. Multiple offers, multiple team members, 7-8 team members. And the business had got like complex. The profit margins weren't great. I didn't really love what I was doing. And the end of that season is the dismantling of a business that I built that I didn't love anymore. And that then takes us to the final season. And so season 6, I would call the season of AI leverage and AI adoption. And basically what happened towards the end of last year in November, the business needed to change and evolve, and I needed to make some hard decisions, and I let go of my entire team. In order to, for a couple of reasons. One, we had grown quickly to that level, and I had built the business that I thought I was supposed to build. Like, this is how everybody tells you to build it. But I didn't love it. And also, to be fully transparent, it was another situation where I didn't have the skills. Like, at that level, there was leadership skills that I had not yet acquired. And so there was a dismantling process. My business partner and I went different ways, amicably. He's awesome. Love him. But needed to kind of reimagine what business looks like going forward in an AI world. And I could see what I wanted, roughly, was how do you build a 7-figure AI first business? And it looked like, so basically since November, I've been building AI agents, automations, applications, and finding ways to essentially replace what would be a 7-figure team with just AI agents and automations. And I have figured out how to do that. And I have a full team of AI agents right now who are running. There are executive assistant agents, media buying agents, social media agents. And I think one of the big lessons that I've learned in this season with AI is my voice and my stories, which are becoming the only things that AI can't do. AI doesn't have the stories of going into debt. AI and getting out. AI doesn't have the sales experience stories. And my voice and my frequency is still mine. So long as I don't outsource it to AI and become a sock puppet and just repeat whatever script AI has for me, which is not my intention here. And so I think in a lot of ways, AI is understanding where to use AI is key and where not to use AI. But what I'm discovering is I'm finally able to build a business where I get to do the things that I actually want. Because when you build these online businesses, in the beginning, you start as like you're a coach or you have a skill. And then pretty quickly, you morph into a marketer where now you have to like build funnels and create all these campaigns and like market your thing. And you get away from actually just being a good coach or being a good consultant or practitioner or whatever it is you do, because you have to do all these other things. But now what I'm learning in the season of AI is AI can do all of the things, all of the other things, so that I can be freed up to do the few things that I do really well and that I actually enjoy, which mostly looks like having conversations, creating some content like this, and coaching, and ultimately helping people shift their minds, their hearts, and their lives for the better. So thanks, AI. And that's what I'm building. And the idea is, our community is called Lifestyle Founder Group. Let's fucking go. LFG. The idea behind that is like you can build a business that gives you a life, not one that just sucks it dry. And if you've watched this far, you're watching this video, and you want to check out our free community, I've just unlocked all of my premium courses. All of my information is in that community. Because what I'm moving into, I've just unlocked everything, open sourced all of my content, ideas, strategies, everything that I've learned and used to make millions of dollars online is all totally for free in there. And I've done that because this season is really about building AI. And it's not so much about information, but it's about building AI agents and AI automations and systems that make implementing a million times easier, faster, cheaper, better. And that's what I'm building. And that's what I'm helping my clients install and create for themselves, AI agents and infrastructure. And if you want to learn more about that, just comment here or join my community, comment in there, or I'll put a link, click one of the links around here. Anyways, this is the journey. Thanks for watching. 6 seasons of my career. I'm super grateful for all of them. They all continue to stack on one another. Each one helps and supports the next one. And what I see is possible next, man, what an exciting time to be alive. Thanks for watching.